Hey, what's going on, everybody? So this is the Nerdy Tech speaking, and so what we're going to do today is I'm gonna give Transmetropolitan a quick break, and I'm also going to jump into Infamous, the short-lived Infamous comic series. I think it's only 6 issues, and this comic book actually came from the video game that debuted on PlayStation 3. The Infamous is about a man who ends up gaining extraordinary abilities, lightning abilities, from a freak accident. So I'm not sure, because I'm just jumping right into this comic book. So I'm not sure if this is a prequel, if it takes place, maybe during the storyline of the game, or maybe after, in between Infamous 1 and 2. So we're just going to jump right into it, and we're gonna dive right in. So jumping right in, we're in Empire City, and it says First Sons Research Facility, Empire City, 4 months ago. So this right here takes place in the past. So we see it says, you better have something to show me, Kessler. Oh, I think you're going to be quite surprised. I better be. And then you hear like a monologue, and it says, I smell him, his stink, even from here. This whole thing is turning into a huge cluster. Between the FBI and DARPA, we've dumped tens of millions of dollars into your research, and what do we have to show for it? If the Koreans beat us, it's your ass. And Kessler says, stop being so melodramatic, Moya. And Moya says, you've got another week. Kessler replies, after you see where things are going, you're going to give me all the time I need. And so it looks like we're getting monologue from Moya, her internal thoughts. And she says, every word he utters is a lie. He's using her. Oh, wait, so as a matter of fact, it isn't. This is actually from somebody else. But Kessler says, after you, my dear. So he says, the ray sphere works on a simple principle. It transfers neuroelectric energy from non-conduits to conduits. Once enough neuroelectric energy is accumulated within the conduit, their latent superhuman abilities are activated. And Moya replies, and everyone around them is killed. So it looks like Kessler is working on some type of device, the ray sphere. And like he says, it works on a simple principle. It transfers neuroelectrical energy from non-conduits to conduits. So a conduit, and this is from even though I'm playing the video game. A conduit is someone who has latent superhuman abilities. It's like some type of mutation in the DNA of regular people. So apparently, the ray sphere, if it detonates, it'll simply drain the neuroelectricity from regular people and transfer it to anyone who has a conduit gene. And when that happens, it activates their latent superhuman abilities. We get some more monologue from this mystery person as it says, just as he used me. Kessler then tells Moya there's always a price to pay. Well, there's always a price, Moya. As I was saying, it's a simple principle, but I started to wonder, what happens when an activated conduit is further exposed to the ray sphere? Will they die? Lose their powers? We get some more of the monologue. But I see the truth now. Nothing escapes my sight. Kessler also says, Moya, I'd like you to meet David. Until a couple of weeks ago, he was working as a security guard at this facility. Moya's like, my God, Kessler, how many times has he been exposed to the ray sphere? Kessler says 11 times, counting this test. Then we also get some more, internal monologue from whoever this is. The Lord will show me his face and I will draw strength from it. Moya's like, are you insane? You need to put an end to this now. So, this guy he has 4 arms, and he's been subjected to the ray sphere 11 times. So I'm not sure if him having 4 arms is from him being, his latent abilities being manifested the first time, or if those extra pair of arms are like a byproduct of, just the constant genetic manipulation that Kessler has been doing on him. And Kessler's like, but you haven't heard the best part, my dear. Each additional exposure unlocks a new ability. It doesn't replace any abilities, it adds to them. And Moya asks, so one person can wield multiple powers at the same time? And Kessler's like, yes. We get some more of that dialogue, strength that will fuel my vengeance. You know what? So I'm starting to think that's this guy. That's him thinking about this right now. I'm not sure yet, though. But, we see it says, this is incredible. An army of people like David would be unstoppable. And Kessler's like, pretty exciting, isn't it? And please put on your goggles. It's going to get very bright in here in a moment. And the machine goes off again on this former security guard. It looks like he's getting more powers. It also, I like in that shot, in the middle shot, he honestly looks like Dr. Manhattan, like some type of Dr. Manhattan-esque character, which is pretty awesome. So on the next page, we get another in the past type panel, and it says Historic District, Empire City, 1 month ago. And we have a man right here. This is Cole, actually. This is Cole, the main character of the game and the comic book. And so Cole's carrying a box, and he says, "Look, this is the address they gave me. Name is Kessler." And the woman's like, "And I'm telling you that you have the wrong address." And he's like, "Shit." So his phone starts ringing, and he says, "Hello?" And the person on the other line asks, "Is this Cole McGrath?" And Cole's like, "Who's this?" And it's Kessler. He says, "My name is Kessler. I believe you're holding a package for me." And Cole says, "Look, I was here on time. It's not my fault that the address is wrong." And Kessler says, "No, you're exactly where you should be. Can you do me a favor and open the box?" And Cole's like, "Why? So you can get me fired?" "I don't think so." And then Kessler says, "I'll pay you $500. And then Cole says, "If you don't pay up, I'm going to kick you." And then right before he gets done saying that, Kessler says, see you soon, Cole." And the package is the Ray Sphere, and the Ray Sphere explodes. So on the next page, we get another, change of location. Stampton Bridge, Empire City, the present. So this is the present time now. And we see it says, "I'm here with General Darren Bridges, commander of the 82nd Airborne Division from Fort Bragg, North Carolina. First of all, General, thank you and your men for your courageous service." And the other soldier says, "Thanks, Linda. We appreciate that." And Linda asks, "What's the current situation in Empire City?" And the general says, "As you know, the quarantine is now in its 24th day, and by and large, things are about where we expect them to be. The situation is stable, and supplies are moving into the city. Human rights group claim that people inside of the Empire City are starting to starve. Excuse my language, but those pennyweights have no idea what they're talking about. They're so worried about their agenda that they refuse to see what's really happening. Makes me sick. It's sad how those rumors get started. And, we see people dying of starvation. We see a woman right here. She's like sucking or biting on a bone. And it also says, "Well, I'm glad that you're giving us a chance to correct the record and get this truth out to the people of America. How are things progressing with the vaccine?" The CDC can answer that better than me, but during our morning briefing, someone mentioned that the city is now 80% plague-free. And the news, the interviewer, replies, "That's wonderful." So it looks like the city is in martial law. It's under the United States military. People are starving, and there's a plague. But according to the general, the city is now 80% plague free, so it looks like there's still another 20% that are still infected with the plague. Thank you so much for your time, General Bridges. This is Linda Kaufman reporting for the U.S. TV News. So we get some monologue from Cole. "4 days ago, I buried my girlfriend Trish in this park. She was murdered by a man named Kessler, and all I could do was watch. And to think about the promises I made for her, that I've always protect her and keep her safe. Promises I didn't keep. I can summon electricity from the sky, float through the air, fire electric rockets from my fingers, but I can't bring the dead back to life." So in this shot, we see that Kessler killed his girlfriend Trish. And while he's reminiscing over her grave, he's looking at a picture of him and her, during their wedding. "I'll always love you, Trish." And we hear somebody behind him, "Cole?" And we get some monologue from Cole that says, "The warden's a good man. Stuck around when the shit hit the fan." He asks Cole, "Are you all right?" Cole replies, "I don't think so." And he says, "I know the feeling." We get some more dialogue from Cole. He's about the only person around here I still trust. And the warden says, "My grandkids used to play in this park, before all of this. I always liked it here, especially in the fall when the trees turned. This is a good place, Cole. She'll find peace here." Cole asks, "You tracked down the first sons?" The one replies, Last of them are dug in over by Pier 12. Going to be a bitch flushing them out, but once they're dealt with, we can start restoring some order around here. And Cole says, I'll deal with them. The warden is like, you're not the only one in this fight, Cole. Cole says, maybe not, but that doesn't change what happened. Nothing would change what happened. No matter how hard you fight, she's still going to be gone. Cole says, you didn't see what he did to her. The warden says, no, I didn't, but I know what it's like to have someone stolen from you. And if I know what grief can do to a man, trust me, you don't want to go down that road. So now we're in Still Arbor, Empire City. And it says, because once you do, there's no turning back. And so we're back with more. And she's talking to some scientists or doctors or whoever. And she asks, is he prepped? And the scientist replies, yeah. And she says, what about the volunteers? He said, I had to make a last-minute substitution because of the blood abnormality. But everything's still on schedule. She asks, who'd you swap? He says, Lieutenant Poole. Have him transferred to the S&D team. How long until the DNA is synthesized into a usable form? Our best estimate is 6 hours. But if there are any genetic irregularities, it may take longer. It doesn't work for me. We're going as fast as we can. So it looks like Moira is trying as fast as possible to get the DNA of these conduits synthesized into a usable form. So I'm guessing into some type of weapon to where she can inject the DNA into volunteers and give them powers. So now it looks like we're at a table, and there's a guy strapped to the table, and he says, you're going to regret all of this, all of you. And Moira's like, shut up, Alden. And he's like, you bitch, how dare you? And then it says, I thought his powers were neutralized. And the doctor says, so did I. So you've unleashed the fury. I told you to shut up. And she punches him inside of the head. So it looks like he has telekinesis because he's starting to throw things around. But she punched him in the face, and I think it knocked him out. She says, so glad I never have to listen to him again. What are you waiting for? Cut this bastard open. And then he says, I need to properly sedate him. And she says, he's as sedated as he needs to be. So it looked like she knocked him out when she punched him. She says, call me when it's done. I've got an evasion to plan. So Cole is walking through an alleyway, and he's talking to the reader, or to himself. And he says, they call themselves the First Sons. Been around for centuries. Started off as mentalists, bending spoons, crap like that. Eventually, they decided to augment their powers with technology, which is how they got Kessler's attention. They helped him create the Ray Sphere, make all of this possible. Without them, Trish is still alive, which is why they're going to die. So it looks like Cole is just going around hunting down these members of the First Sons, and he's killing them because he feels like they are responsible for Trish's death. We get some radio contact from the warden. I believe that's the one. Nope, that's actually not the one. But we get some radio contact. And it says, Cole, we're closing in on the pier, but those bastards are putting up a hell of a fight. Cole says, I'm on my way. The man says, don't let them pin you down. Keep moving. So he's in the middle of a firefight right now with the First Sons. So Cole's coming in, and the guy says, watch that flank. And, right now it looks like the men are just getting massacred right now by the First Sons. And it looks like there's a man that's about to shoot. I think that is the one. About to shoot the warden with a rocket, and Cole comes in and redirects it. He redirects the rocket, and he blasts in, and he destroys, some of the members of the First Sons, and he fries one. He grabs one by the head, and he just completely fries him. It's pretty awesome. So Cole then tells his man, go make sure those clowns are really finished. I don't want any stragglers taking a pot shot at me. Oh, that's actually not Cole that said that. That's actually, I'm not sure if that's the warden or not. Pretty sure it is, but he says, go make sure those clowns are really finished. I don't want any stragglers taking a pot shot at me. Cole asks, you guys all right? And the man says, yeah, we're fine. And the guy touches him and says, you really saved our bacon, brother. And he touches Cole on the shoulder, and Cole kind of looks back at him. He quickly lets go. And Cole says, I'm going to search the area and make sure that's the last of them. And the man says, he doesn't like you much, does he? And the man says, no, not anymore anyhow. So it looks like we get some more monologue. So I was correct. It seems like that was the man that they were experimenting on in the beginning of the issue. That was his internal monologue when we were in there. And later that night, in the First Sons research facility, it looks like he breaks out. Kessler left me here to die, right away in the darkness. He denies me the Lord's love, his blessings. I will find him, teach him the price of his folly. But first, I must feed. So he's broken out, and he wants revenge on Kessler. But he says before he wants to leave, before he hunts down Kessler, he has to feed, and he sees a lady digging for trash, and he it looks like he has some type of his vision is more of like, I don't want to say echolocation, but he can see the bioenergy of living beings. So the woman's like, oh man, that stinks. So she turns around and she said, this is my alley. You hear? I've got a gun. Oh my God. And the guy looks like he's draining her bioelectricity. And the man says, it's through the Lord's grace that I regain my strength. Man, so I'm not sure if that kills her or not, or what, infects her or what, but it looks like we're going to find out. So we're in Eagle Point Penitentiary in Empire City. And, oh, okay, so it looks like that's Zeke. Okay, so we get some more monologue from Cole, and it says, Zeke was my best friend, like a brother to me. You want any more of these beans? And he says, no. And he says, now I don't know what he is. And Zeke says, that was some nice work today, Cole. And Cole says, pricks got what they deserve. Zeke's like, well, we couldn't have done it without you. And Cole asks, why are you here, Zeke? And Zeke says, what do you mean? The rooftop's not safe. Where? Because you shot Kessler a couple of times. That's everything's forgiven. I told you how sorry it was. I don't know. And Cole says, you're sorry. Kessler's sorry. Everybody's sorry. And Zeke says, Kessler, what's the hell he got to do with anything? And, Cole is starting to charge up his electricity. And Cole says, I'm Kessler, or rather he's me. And Zeke says, listen, man, you all right? That doesn't make a lick of sense. Look at it. How's this possible? You guys never got married. Kessler gave it to me right before he died. It's his wedding photo. He was me from the future. Came back in time to set all of this up. The race fear, my powers, the quarantine. Trish and him were married, had 2 kids, and he killed her. He murdered his own wife. And you know why? Because something bad is coming. He called it the beast, said it's going to destroy the world unless I stop it. So he decided to toughen me up, get me ready. And Zeke says, he showed you all that when he locked into your face? Cole says, yes. I know you're sorry, Zeke, but every time I look at you, all I see is Kessler's face laughing back at me. And it makes me want to strangle the life out of you. And Zeke says, I know. And Cole says, you're all I got left, Zeke. But my God, I hate your guts. North Beach, Neon District. No, Lord, no. I know. You had no choice. You couldn't protect yourself. This was the only way. The Lord will forgive you. So we get a flashback, and it's a man arguing with his wife, and he says, they're going to repossess the house. I don't have a choice. And the lady says, I don't trust Kessler. He made you all these promises. And we get some more inner dialogue from the man. He says, he lied to me, just as he lied to the woman. And another shot of the flashback, he says, and you'll give them all the money? And Kessler says, you have my word. I'm personally delivered the checks to your wife. And the man says, shh, there's no reason to be afraid. Not anymore. Then we get this awesome shot of the guy, like a full view of his face. I'm not sure if his wife is dead or what, but he says, Kessler's trying to hide from me, disguise his true nature. But through the glory of God, I know the truth. Kessler won't escape my fury. It says, to be continued. Man, and that guy looks gnarly. So that's the guy in the beginning of the story that was getting tested on. Still don't know what type of power he has. But in this shot, he really reminds me of the Parasite from the old school. Actually, just from in general, DC in general, and the Parasite from the Superman animated series. So that was issue number 1 of the Infamous series. I'm still confused. So it looks like the comic series actually takes place midway during the game. Actually, or towards the end of the game, because you fight Kessler at the end of the PS3 game, and Cole already has the picture. So this looks like this is actually taking place after the events of Infamous 1, and it's probably the bridge from Infamous 1 to Infamous 2, which is perfectly fine with me. So that was the main thing. So Zeke for a split second, he wanted the power. Kessler manipulated Zeke into thinking that if Zeke used the race fair, he could get powers. And it turns out that didn't happen. So Cole Cole still doesn't trust Zeke for what he's done. And like what Cole said, Kessler was actually code from the future who came back in time to get this code stronger to get ready for the imminent showdown against the beast. And we'll have more information on the beast when I review and discuss issue 2. So I appreciate you guys for sitting back and hanging out with me while I go over this and reading the story with me. You got any questions or anything, you got any requests, just leave me a comment. I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video.